Well, today I'm talking about going through the looking glass. Through the looking glass. It's a talk on consciousness, awareness, so to speak. I may assume that everyone this morning started their day off with a reflection, generally a reflection of themselves as they look into the mirror, a reflection of you. Now, you might have liked what you saw, you might have not. I know some mornings I look better than others. And that's what starts your daily routine of adventures and reflections. I say that because your reflection to the world is found in who you believe yourself to be at any particular moment due to the circumstances of the time at the time of day. Your reflection to the world of who you are is constantly changing, constantly, depending on your circumstances. Hopefully, you'll be pretty okay with it. As the day goes on, you'll be okay. But there's going to be something. Generally, there's something that comes up during the day that gives you a little bit of, not so much. I'm not so comfortable with it. My reflection is getting a little blurry here because it's bothering me. And I'm taking that bother into how I present myself to the world, into the reflection of myself that the world sees. Now, to go through the looking glass, to go through and beyond the day-to-day reflection of yourself and how you show up in the world, it helps to have an idea who the real self of you is. The self with a capital S. That self, that discovery of that self is generally called the path of self-discovery. It's called the spiritual path. And it's one of those things which is simple, but generally not easy. And among the more spiritually eclectic, as we like to find ourselves to be, when asked about, who are you in this world? I'm sure most of us here have heard of or even said, I am a spiritual being having a human experience. Anybody familiar with that phrase? Yep, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Self-discovery. That's what your human experience is all about. Self-discovery. It's an ongoing practice of relating your personal identity with that spiritual being that is the truth of you. The spiritual being that is the I am presence. It's often referred to as the search for self and being a spiritual seeker. We're seeking the self. We're seeking the truth of us. But generally, when you're seeking something, you're seeking it because you don't know where it is. You're seeking it because we feel it's lost. Well, guess what? It isn't lost. It's not lost at all. It'll be helpful to keep in mind that what you're seeking is not lost. It cannot be found because it is the energy that is doing the searching. What you are seeking is you. The energy behind your seeking is you. I'm sure most of us here have had the wonderful people come up and say, "Have you found Jesus?" Well, I didn't know he was lost. He's not, and neither are you. Who you are perceiving as your, what I call your little s self, is actually the truth of you. Your I am presence, the spark of God, the Christ of yourself, the being that is eternal, your divine presence. That is what's showing up as you in your day-to-day world, filtered through your humanity. Your divinity consistently shows up in the world, filtered through your humanity. You are always showing up as your divine self. It just has all these layers of kerfuffle that's been layered on since you were a baby. But it's still you. It's still you. And the object of this seeking is to be able to express yourself, the truth of you, through these layers of humanity. In unity, we call it having the individuality shine through your personality. Having your who you are reflect the truth of you. Your personality is that aspect of you which changes day to day, sometimes minute to minute, circumstance to circumstance. It adapts to the situation and what you're doing at the moment. Your individuality is the truth of you which never changes. So Jesus the Christ had his individuality shining through his personality. Most of the time, not all the time. He got a little angry and, ticked off once in a while himself because he was living a human experience, just as we all were. My friend, mentor, and teacher, Deidre Price, she has a couple of sayings that I like. One of them is, you can't have a question that doesn't rise out of the answer. You can't have a question that doesn't rise out of the answer. Now, one of my favorites is to find what is sought. To find what is sought can't be found is to find. Think about that one, takes a little bit of thinking. To find what is sought can't be found is to find. Your questions about your spiritual experience, your yearning to know and experience your higher self, is rising out of the answer, is rising out of your higher self, rising out of that higher self, pushing your humanity to express more of the truth of you, to reflect more of the truth of you out into the world. Yes, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. One of the key things is to be both at once. Not either or, but both at once. There's a little exercise you can do during the day, and or in your meditations even, of how to be both at once. Okay, think of it this way. Give it a try when you have the opportunity. The truth of your being right now is at peace. The truth of your being is always at peace. It is at peace with everything. The truth of you is at peace. When something comes up that affects that peace, affects your peace of mind, instead of going off into the usual ring around the rosy that we do with fear and angst and worry and trepidation and all the little things that we like to do, instead of buying into that and joining into that little dance we play with ourselves, pause for a moment. Do feel that angst and all that stuff, of what it's doing to your body. And then bring your awareness to your awareness of that thing that disturbed you. Whatever it is, become just aware, bring your attention to the awareness of whatever it was that disturbed you. Now, does your awareness buy into that angst and anxiety and fear? No, it doesn't. You'll find that it doesn't. The angst and anxiety and fear is the human experience. The awareness of it is simply knows that it's there. It simply knows it happened. That is your spiritual being. Your spiritual being knows that this happened. Your human experience tags all of this stuff onto it. We have a tendency to run over to all the stuff that's been tagged onto it and play ring around the rosy with it. Anger, anger, we all fall down. So if we try our best to be both at the same time, and we can. This is one time where you can be a dualistic being. You can be a spiritual being having a human experience. As your spiritual being is aware of what's going on and aware of your human experience of fear and angst and worry and trepidation, that fear and angst and worry and trepidation will be less. It's stuff's still going to bother you. Stuff should still bother you. When you see some of the things that go on in the world, when we picked up the paper today or opened up the news and saw another shooting happen in Texas, that should bother you. And it will bother you. That's the human experience. And the spiritual being will not do away with the bother, but will lessen it. Will give you the courage to go through yet another news cycle of the same stuff, SOSDD, same old stuff, different day. We all know what people are going to say, what people are going to do, but the truth of your being, the spiritual being, knows that there is hope, knows that it is coming, the change is coming. There is no way around it. That change will be coming, and sooner than we may expect. That's the spiritual being in the midst of the human experience. That gives us the hope. That gives us the perseverance. That is our power. Power is the power of the month in our 12 power study. May is the month of power. And that is part of our power. The power of our spiritual presence, our individual spiritual being, to be able to live in this world and change ourselves, and so change the world a little bit at a time. We may not be able to do anything about all this stuff that's going on personally. But you can take action. You can make your phone calls. You can write your letters. You can be supportive. You can not go along with the crowd when they say, oh, there's nothing you can do. Bull. There is. And that spiritual being and your humanity can come together and figure out what it is that is yours to do in this. Whether it be making phone calls, writing letters, voting. And it's the combination of the human experience, the combination of the spirit expressing through that human experience that is going to change the world. It has changed the world. And you can play a part of that every single day. Good news is, once you start working to remove those layers, the process begins to take care of itself. Charles Fillmore, in his book Talks on Truth, says, your I am is the offspring of the God idea. And all the possibilities of the principle through which that idea are open to you. To know thyself is to know that you are I am, and not flesh and blood. You are that I am. This week, folks, give yourself a break from the fear and worry and angst by taking just a moment to be that spiritual being in the midst of your human experience. When you come upon a circumstance or situation that riles up your human experience in a big way, pause. Take a breath and respond to yourself from your spiritual being. Allow its reflection to bring you through the looking glass into a peaceful, powerful, and capable human experience that is you. God blesses you. Now is our time of love offering. So as we take our tithes and gifts and offerings in our hands, we're at home, we simply place our hands over our hearts. However we do it, we are acknowledging ourselves as the abundant hand of God in action. Let's join together in our love offering blessing as we all say, divine love, moving through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you,
God. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. Yeah, I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear for the whole round world to hear. If we were meant to be human beings, we're not called human doings. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree that every man and woman should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. Oh, I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things I can do, though I'm way overdue. I'll be starting brand new. Said I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know, yes, said I'd sing, 'cause I know, said I'd sing, 'cause I know that me, just the way I am, that's how it feels. That's how it feels to be free. That's how it feels to be free.
Thank you, thank you.